Podcast Bites powered by India Law LLP, where we break down significant court decisions and bring the law closer to you clearly and accurately. I am your host Tanvi Darvi, and today we are looking at a judgment that began as a straightforward anticipatory bail application but ended with something far more profound. The case is V. Sarat Kumar versus the state, decided on the 24th of April 2026 by the Madurai Bench of Madras High Court, a case that started as a YouTube video and ended with the court directing the Tamil Nadu government to formulate a comprehensive rehabilitation scheme for transgender persons across the state. Let's walk through exactly what happened. The petitioner is a YouTuber. He had published, or more precisely, retransmitted a video on digital media about a deeply disturbing incident. A transgender individual had committed self-immolation within the precincts of a police station and subsequently succumbed to their injuries. In the video, the petitioner allegedly projected, and the court noted this was incorrect, that the police had collected personal details of transgender persons based on complaints that they were extracting money from the public through coercive means. The respondent police registered a criminal case against the petitioner under section 353 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023, which deals with the statements conducing to public mischief in crime number 73 of 2026. Fearing arrest, Sarat Kumar approached the Madurai Bench seeking anticipatory bail under section 482 of the Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. The arguments on both sides were clear. The petitioner's counsel argued that Sarat Kumar had merely retransmitted existing content. The message did not originate from him. Crucially, no incriminating material was found in the transmission. Upon realizing the nature of the content, the petitioner immediately removed the video and stopped its further spread. His mobile phone had already been seized by investigators, making custodial interrogation unnecessary. The prosecution, on the other hand, strongly opposed bail. They contended that the petitioner had spread false information about the police and the government, creating a misleading impression that the transgender community's grievances were not being addressed by authorities. The court, after reviewing the material, including the actual video content placed before it on a pen drive, found that the allegation was limited to retransmission of news relating to self-immolation incident. The court also noted that similar news had been widely disseminated by several other media outlets before the petitioner shared it. In those circumstances, the court granted anticipatory bail. The bail was granted subject to standard conditions. Sarat Kumar was directed to execute a personal bond of Rs 10,000 with two sureties of a like amount before Judicial Magistrate number 2 within 15 days. He was also required to report before the respondent police daily at 10:30 am for 15 days, not to tamper with evidence or influence witnesses, and not to abscond during investigation or trial. If he were to abscond subsequently, the court noted a fresh FIR could be registered under section 269 of the BNS. Now, here is where this judgment becomes something to remember. The court did not stop at bail. Justice Ramakrishnan observed with what the judgment describes as deep anguish that the tragic incident of self-immolation had shocked the judicial conscience. The members of the transgender community, the court noted, continue to face entrenched social stigma resulting in deprivation of basic dignity and meaningful livelihood. Drawing on the Supreme Court's landmark 2014 Constitutional Bench judgment in National Legal Service Authority versus Union of India, reported in 2014, commonly known as the NALSA judgment, Justice Ramakrishnan retreated that transgender persons are entitled to equality, dignity, and protection under Articles 14, 19, and 21 of the Constitution. The NALSA judgment had, among other things, affirmed that transgender persons are entitled to reservation and affirmation action as a socially and educationally backward class, and that no citizen can be discriminated against on the ground of gender identity. The Madurai Bench, however, took judicial note of a grim reality. Those binding directions issued over a decade ago in 2014 have not been effectively implemented in their true spirit. The court held that leaving the matter without further directions would amount to failure on the part of this court to discharge its constitutional obligations. So what exactly did the court direct? First, the state government of Tamil Nadu was directed to formulate a comprehensive rehabilitation scheme for transgender persons at the Taluk-Level, ensuring avenues for self-employment and sustainable livelihood and to implement welfare schemes tailored to their specific needs. Second, the Chief Secretary of Tamil Nadu was directed to coordinate with all relevant departments to ensure effective and time-bound implementation of these measures. Third, the Chief Secretary was directed to file a detailed compliance report on or before 26 July 2026. The matter has been listed for compliance on 3rd August 2026. Why does this matter? This judgment is a reminder that Indian courts, even in the course of deciding what appears to be a root criminal matter, retain both the power and the responsibility to intervene when constitutional rights of vulnerable communities are being denied. It highlights that the NALSA judgment is not merely a celebrated precedent to be cited in arguments. It carries enforceable obligations on the state that courts will monitor. That's our podcast bites episode for today. I am Tanvi Darvi for India Law LLP. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and keep the law in focus.